In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the Tech Zone.
Welcome back to the Tech Zone. I'm Paul Amadeus Lane. Thank you for joining me here on ABC News Radio KMET. Huge shout out to our listeners and viewers on YouTube, Livestream, iHeart, iTunes. And don't forget to download the Tech Zone app, either in your iOS store or the Android store. What you want to do is search Tech Zone, Paul Amadeus Lane. Download the app, and you'll be connected on a lot of cool things as well. Do you or someone you love deal with diabetes? If you do, or if they do, peace of mind is really paramount. We have family members, or if we ourselves are dealing with health challenges. Some of you may have heard of a diabetic dog and how beneficial that dog is. What if I told you that there is a tech company that's creating a digital version of a diabetic dog? Don't believe me? Let me bring on my next guest. And I'm so happy to have with me right now to talk about this great piece of innovation that we kind of introed in the beginning. Co-founder of Diabetic, Eric Hush. Eric, how are you, my friend?
Paul, I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Hey, Eric, the pleasure is mine. And Eric, I was telling the audience before I brought you on just about the article that I read about you guys from the Consumer Technology Association, and how I believe this innovation is really going to, change the world when it comes to diabetes and detection. And as I look at this piece of innovation, this Diabetic, it's really broken down into three sections. It's monitor, detect, and protect. And so, Eric, as we look at this piece of innovation, before we delve into all the nuts and bolts of it, what made you guys want to create something like this?
Well, the story of it's really just kind of a unique collision of an idea and an advancement in technology. So several years ago, we were exposed to the diabetic service animals, diabetic service dogs. It was really fascinating to us that an animal can be trained to help a person with diabetes manage that disease. And so that really just kind of stuck with us. We're all animal lovers here, and just was really fascinating to see animals being able to contribute and give back like that. Fast forward several years, we're introduced to Amadeus, our partner company in California, with their cutting edge gas sensing technology. And we went to them at that point and said, can we take this cutting edge nanotech gas sensor and program it to do what the diabetic service dog does? And so that was the kind of birth of the concept. And since then, we've been working with Amadeus to do just that, to basically build a digital diabetes service dog.
Awesome. And Eric, that really takes us to the first element of this dynamic piece of innovation, and that is to monitor now. Now, how are these this nanotechnology and these sensors, how are they able to detect these gases to see if somebody's slipping into a diabetic coma?
Well, there's a mountain of research behind what the actual gas profiles are. So, dating back a couple of decades in terms of science that has looked at the exhaled breath and what sort of VOCs or exhaled chemicals can we detect. And you can actually, diabetes isn't the only disease that you can detect using the breath. There's a lot of research around cancer, even advanced diseases like that they can pick up in the breath as well. So we took that existing research, we've layered that with some of our own, and the science behind the tech is cutting edge. These sensors gas sensing is not a new thing, but to be able to do it with a sensor that's small enough to be embedded in a wearable device, that's really the breakthrough piece of this technology.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible to have technology to the point now where this has become a reality. Because let's face it, if we have diabetes, or if we have a parent or a child who have diabetes, we know what they have to go through to monitor it. Painstaking. It's just not a pleasant experience. So this kind of takes the unpleasantness out of a very serious medical situation to ones that can monitor. And Eric, was that something that you guys really wanted to introduce, so that ones wouldn't be able to experience the pain that comes with monitoring diabetes?
Yeah, if Paul, if you look at the spread of diabetes worldwide, this is a disease that in the next few years will impact 500 million people. It's not just an American problem. It is a problem worldwide. Every country deals with it. And the current methods for managing it, as you mentioned, the word's invasive, but it could also be painful, annoying. Imagine having to, the most commonly used method is the finger prick. So you're pricking your finger several times a day, or worse. You want to stay on top of it because it's your child that has diabetes, so you're pricking their fingers several times a day, or your elderly relative that you may be helping care for. So the finger prick method, even the cutting edge continuous glucose monitors do require some sort of transdermal penetration. There, it is an invasive solution. So that's kind of what we're really hoping to get with Diabetic, is a solution that allows that active monitoring of the diabetic status without requiring any sort of invasive finger prick or sensor.
And Eric, when I look at what you guys are doing over there, one thing that pops in my mind is just how the detection that this innovation has. Let's face it, if I have a relative that has diabetes that lives, let's say, in your neck of the woods over there in Alabama, and I want to find out how they're doing, your piece of innovation could give me a clue so that if something is going wrong or something, I can probably alert relatives that live around there to go check on them. Is that true?
Yeah, so that's a piece that's built into the overall solution. The wearable devices communicate via low power Bluetooth with an app that can be loaded on any smartphone. And then that app allows you to connect a network of caregivers. So, for example, if you are have an elderly relative in another state, you could be set up to get alerts when Diabetic detected that something may be wrong with that relative. The use case that really fired us up was, sending a kid to school. A parent doesn't want to worry all day about their kid's status, and so this piece of it, the caregiver network notification, was a way for us to be able to say, okay, now if you have this device on the child, you can rest a little bit easier because now we're keeping an eye on him. We actually at CES 2019 met a guy who's the superintendent of an entire system in the Northeast, and he said he wanted one of these on every kid with diabetes in the school because the administrators, the teachers, have a personal responsibility too, and so it's something they take very seriously. For the children with diabetes that are in their programs. So we're hoping that eventually we can have something to roll out that can meet that need as well.
I love it. Thinking about that just opens up a door of opportunities out there so that everyone can play a part in the healthcare of children who have diabetes, and also the elderly and infirm population as well too. And when we look at just this wearable, one thing that struck me, Eric, was that you made it look pretty sleek and awesome looking, not just like a medical device. Like, no one wouldn't even know that you're wearing something like this because it looks like a regular watch.
Yeah, and that was intentional from the get-go. We enlisted one of the top design firms here in town, Push Product Design, to come up with a unit that would be functional. The unit does have to take constant air samples. So we had some functionality concerns there, but then we wanted something that was just cooler looking. It doesn't look like a medical device at all. There's a stigma with some kids that is attached to diabetes, unfortunately. So we wanted to come out with something that a kid wouldn't mind, having on or wearing, or a patient wouldn't mind, having around them. So that was very intentional for us, was to not only address the functionality of the device, but also the design, keeping that in mind, of making something that looks a little bit futuristic, a little bit high tech, but definitely something that's more cool looking than something that's more medical device looking.
And when you look at innovation and technology out there, some people may be afraid to embrace it because they think it's too hard to set up and to monitor. But Eric, what you guys have done over there, you guys have made monitoring a little easy over there, because it's an easy setup and everything. Take us through, how easy it is to set up and the rest of the monitoring and everything.
Yeah, sure. So we're addressing it from the get-go to try to be super pain-free, super easy to onboard you into this technology. As a part of that, we do have to calibrate the device to each individual's breath signature. The research that we're working with shows that there are some commonalities within the breath signatures as your glucose levels fluctuate, but each person's signature is unique. So there's a little bit of a training phase that people will have to go to just to train Diabetic on how to recognize their specific patterns, just like you would have to train the diabetic service dog. But after that, the device is continuously monitoring you, continuously learning as you feed back your glucose levels into the system. It's continuously adjusting, learning from those patterns to get better and better. So over time, as you use the technology more and more, it becomes even more and more reliable and more effective.
And that's where the continuous learning come in. And so they learn our bodies, learn our breaths, and just learn our kind of behaviors out there. And what I like about it too, Eric, we talked about the alerts earlier, but there can be customizable alerts out there. Now, what type of alerts would a person want to customize?
Well, we imagine when we release this to the market, we will be releasing it as an alert device, so it will function just like the dog functions. So the dog doesn't tell you your glucose level is this specifically, but it says, I think that there's something that's out of range here. So someone may have a low that they classify as maybe 80 or below, or their highs may be 140, 150. It's kind of unique for everyone. So what will allow them to do with the device is kind of train the device on those highs and lows that they want to be able to pick up, and then the device will operate on that.
I love it. And what I wanted to find out too, if you can speak on this, Eric, is what has been the medical profession's feedback when it comes to this device? Because some people may think that maybe the medical community out there won't embrace this because it's kind of cutting into their bottom line. But what has been the feedback from doctors and medical professionals out there?
Paul, it's been overwhelmingly positive. I think the fact that we're trying to do something against diabetes, that we're addressing that, that concept has been embraced with open arms. Here in Birmingham, we're very fortunate that we have one of the leading research institutions at UAB. We've got incredible support from those guys so far. Southern Research Institute is another advanced program here in town that funds a lot of cutting edge innovations in biotechnology. They've been really helpful, really supportive for us. A lot of our early investors are physicians in the community here that have recognized the need for better diabetes solutions, cutting edge diabetes solutions. So they've been really huge fans of what we're doing as well. So I'd say in general, the medical community has, and even at CES, the doctors we talk to, they're really just embracing this concept, really supporting us, and being just absolutely great to us.
And Eric, right now you guys are looking for beta testers out there to try out this device and give feedback. Can you share with us any feedback you've gotten already without breaking any HIPAA laws so you and I won't get in trouble, or just in a roundabout way?
Just the early feedback that we've got, and just to be clear with your users, there's a process of testing, retesting, testing in the lab, getting that piece right, and then moving into limited human trials. So that's kind of where we are right now. We're still in the lab with the human trials. So the broader beta hasn't been activated quite yet, but that will be our next step. Once we get the human trials in the lab finalized and we get the product ready for a wider deployment, then we'll be looking for those beta testers. And people can go to our website, diabetic.com, and sign up right there. Really all we need from you is an email address so we can keep you in the loop. But that will be rolling out next year. We'll have those devices actually ready for field testing.
And Eric, I would be derelict in my duties if I didn't give props to, Alabama is really famous for their football with the Alabama Crimson Tide, and then also Auburn. It's refreshing to see that Alabama is getting known for tech now, and talk about were there any stigmatisms out there when you have this tech coming from Alabama that maybe the tech world didn't take you serious because they were like, hey, it's only football to come out of Alabama. So talk about any walls you had to break down with that.
We haven't had any issues with credibility being from here. I think that especially over the last few years, the climate has really shifted here, and specifically. It's been a lot friendlier to entrepreneurs, a lot friendlier to tech startups. We've always had kind of a brain trust of biomed talent here, just again with the institutions I mentioned earlier. But it's just recently has the economic and kind of social landscape shifted to be kinder to entrepreneurs. The only real issue that we've had being located here in Birmingham is it slowed us down a little bit on the fundraising in the early days, just because the guys that are in Silicon Valley want you to build a business in Silicon Valley, or Boston or some of the other hot spots. And we were dedicated from day one that we wanted to build this in our home state, that we wanted to start something here. We're very proud to be from here. I know there's various stigmas associated with other things, but this community has embraced us, has been great to us, and we anticipate it will be like that going forward.
Yeah,
and we'll be proud to say that we built this in Alabama. It's really something that we're proud of.
Absolutely, and plus you guys have a scoreboard too. I mean, in Huntsville, aerospace. I mean, you guys, and to me it was like a maturation process of more tech coming down there because of the aerospace industry and like some of the other research facilities that are out there as well too. And I think it's really, really, really incredible. And I can't let you go without getting your take on who's going to win the big game this year between Alabama and Auburn. Some tell me I know where your heart is leaning.
Yeah, I'm a lifelong Alabama fan. My co-founders are all graduates from the U of A. So roll Tide, we're going to take it home this year. It's been a fantastic year of college football so far. I'm a big Alabama fan, so I'm optimistic. I think we're going to do well.
Yeah, I think so too. What I would like to say, you and I kind of talked about this last time we had a conversation in the playoff game. Alabama going up against their old quarterback, Jalen Hurst from Oklahoma. That would be pretty cool. Having Saban go against his old protege, his quarterback that he groomed for many years. So that would be pretty cool. But I do think Tua is going to be the number one pick in the NFL next year's draft. So that's going to be some more bragging rights. In addition to having great tech coming out of Alabama, you have a great quarterback coming out too. Now, before I let you go, too, one more thing I almost forgot to ask you. I know you guys are continuing to innovate, more products on the horizon. Without giving any secrets away, what is the next area of wearables and medicine and medical tech that you guys may tackle next?
Well, I mean, I think you're seeing it across the board. The Apples, the Fitbits, the Googles, all of the big companies are now pushing towards kind of a med tech wearable ecosystem. The idea that we can give people more information about themselves, about how their diet impacts their health, their heart patterns, their activity patterns. The idea that you inform and share, that you make that data visible to people is going to make them more likely to do something about it. And so we see, with our wearable, it's another data point that we're going to now be able to expose to people that are wearing it. So that, eventually, I mentioned it earlier, the breath does hold a lot of secrets about our physiology and about our health. So I think this is kind of just a stepping stone of, now in addition to EKGs and things like that give us clues about our health. What can our breath tell us about how healthy we are, and then about how we need to modify our behaviors to be even healthier. So diabetes is the first problem we'll solve. But I really see beyond that, just the limitations of this platform, or it's pretty limitless what we can do with this platform once we figure this out. So I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be it's going to usher in, along with this kind of wave of med tech devices that we're seeing, usher in a whole new level of understanding for people.
I totally agree, and you've been in the tech game for a long time, and I've been covering tech for a long time too. And to see where we're at in technology, Eric, it's like mind-boggling, man. It's like blowing me away. What about you?
It's a great time to be alive. I mean, you look at the last 20 years, even at some of the things that have built up and grown and completely changed the landscape. People didn't, cell phones weren't that big of a thing. When I was coming up through college, I didn't even have an email address. So the things that we now take just for granted, that have really developed in a relatively short time ago, are just kind of precluding or predicting what's going to happen next as you get people connected on a global scale, as you make the environments for investing in these startup ideas more hospitable. You're going to just keep seeing this. I mean, I really like to think 5-10 years ahead. The next big innovation that idea hasn't even been born yet, and we're going to get to see all of those things just happen and change. And I love trying to keep up with it. I loved the CES show. Seeing these different applications, these different ideas that people are nurturing and growing up. I'm involved with the tech community here, so of course I'm exposed to a lot of tech startups and ideas that are being grown right here in our backyard. So it's a cool time to be alive. I love technology. I'm a geek, so I'm very excited about what the future holds.
Yeah, me too, my friend. Me too. And thank you so much for joining me. And I'm going to come down there and see you. I spend some time down in northern Alabama. When I come down there, we'll go to Shoney's, okay?
Yeah, let's do it, man. Just let me know when you're in town. Take you around. We'll get some barbecue and we'll do it up right.
It sounds good, my friend. And that brings up a funny story before I let you go. One more time. I promise I am going to let you go during this interview. But I remember the first time I had barbecue in Alabama. It was my first time being introduced to mustard slaw on a pulled pork sandwich. I'm from California. We don't put nothing. Right. We don't put nothing on our sandwich. Our pulled pork. We eat it with some white Wonder bread, and we're good. But when I went down there and had the mustard slaw, I was like, "This is incredible." I was introduced to some amazing cuisine down south in Alabama. Man, you guys really know how to put the weight on me. I'm telling you that.
Well, for sure, man. Next time you're here, we'll do the restaurant rounds. We'll do it up right.
It sounds good, Eric. Great talking to you, my friend.
Great talking to you, Paul. Thanks again for having me on.
Sure thing. Wow. Guys, were you blown away as I was? That was pretty cool, wasn't it? And a huge shout out to Eric Hush from Diabetic joining me talking about this great piece of innovation and technology. You want to keep your eye on them. They're on the right side of history when it comes to this. Well, our show is almost over, but before I let you go, off the grid cooking refrigeration is something we should all be mindful of. Here in the United States and even throughout the world, natural disasters can come and strike at any time. Are you prepared for it? Are you ready for it? Last week I had my great friend Patrick Sherwin on from GoSun and some of the innovations that they have when it comes to solar and battery backup. So if you want more information about that, don't forget to go to their website, GoSun, that's GOSUN.co. Check out some of the great products that you can use in emergency situations and even non-emergency situations if you just want to reduce the carbon footprint. And if you like what you see, use promo code TechZone, all one word, and we'll hook you up with a nice little discount. All right? Well, I'm going to make like a tree and get out of here until next time. And on next week's show, we're going to be joined by an expert that's going to be talking about AI and some of the things that we should be concerned about, and just an awesome interview. I got a chance to see this one person's TEDx talk, and it was like, I was blown away by it. You might have seen it on my social media that I share, but it's truly, truly amazing. So next week, I'm going to be joined by a very special guest to talk about that. All right, until next time, folks, love you guys. Take care.
In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the tech zone.